Have you ever noticed how often you introduce yourself with a story? Not to other people, but to yourself. Quietly repeating the same memories until they begin sounding less like recollections and more like undeniable truth. Most people believe they know exactly who they are because they have spent years telling themselves the same story. They rarely stop to wonder whether that story is complete. Perhaps your story says that you always fail, that people eventually leave you, or that nothing you do is ever enough. Perhaps it feels true simply because you have heard it thousands of times. Every painful memory quietly becomes another piece of evidence. Every disappointment becomes another chapter, until the story grows stronger than the person living it. Little by little, you stop saying, "Something painful happened to me," and begin believing, "This is who I am," without realizing that the difference between those two sentences can change an entire life. That is the moment the story becomes a prison. Not because it is accurate, but because it has become familiar enough to feel safe. The mind has always preferred familiar thoughts over uncertain possibilities. It would rather repeat an old pain than risk believing a new and unfamiliar hope. Imagine opening exactly the same book every morning for years. Eventually, you stop reading the words because you already know every page by heart. That is precisely what happens inside your mind. Your memories become the pages, your thoughts become the narrator, and your emotions faithfully perform the same story again and again. One day, you no longer notice that you are remembering. You simply believe you are observing reality exactly as it is. Then something even stranger begins happening. Every new experience is quietly compared with the story you already believe about yourself. When someone appreciates you, you question their sincerity. When something good happens, you call it luck instead of recognizing your own growth. When an opportunity appears, you immediately search for reasons why it probably will not last. Not because reality says so, but because your story quietly whispers that it never does. Without realizing it, your story begins editing reality. Anything that agrees with it is remembered, while everything that challenges it slowly fades into the background. The result is astonishing. You become surrounded by evidence that seems to prove your story, even though much of that evidence was selected by your own attention. This is why two people can live remarkably similar lives while remembering them in completely different ways. Each one keeps collecting proof for the story they already believe. One remembers every rejection while forgetting every act of kindness. The other remembers every lesson while refusing to let pain become the only narrator. Neither person is inventing memories, they are simply strengthening different parts of the same life through repetition. The first page of your story may have been written by fear, disappointment, loneliness, or a single careless sentence spoken by someone who never understood your value. A frightened child, a painful afternoon, a failed relationship, or one humiliating experience can sometimes become the author of an identity that lasts for decades. Yet no single moment has ever possessed the wisdom to describe an entire human life. Only repetition gave that moment such extraordinary power. Meanwhile, countless victories quietly disappeared. Moments of courage, resilience, generosity, patience, and unexpected success slowly slipped into silence because they were rarely revisited. Pain has a loud voice that constantly asks to be remembered. Gratitude usually waits in silence without demanding our attention. This is why painful memories often grow larger than joyful ones. Not because they are more important, but because they receive more practice. The mind quietly becomes whatever it practices most often. This happens so gradually that we mistake repetition for identity. Imagine training only one muscle every day for years while ignoring every other part of your body. Eventually, the imbalance would seem completely normal. Our memories work in exactly the same way. The ones we exercise become stronger. while the neglected ones slowly lose their influence. Fortunately, stories possess one remarkable characteristic. They can always be expanded without denying the chapters that came before. Changing your story does not require pretending the past never happened. It simply requires refusing to let one chapter become the entire book. The next time an old memory returns, resist the temptation to stop at that single page. Continue reading until you remember everything that happened afterward. Perhaps you survived something you once believed would destroy you. Perhaps you discovered strength you never knew you possessed. Or perhaps someone found hope simply because you refused to give up. Perhaps you learned compassion through suffering. Perhaps your deepest wounds eventually became the reason someone else felt understood. Those memories are every bit as real as the painful ones. They simply remained quieter because they were invited back less often. Your identity has never been created by one event alone. It has always been shaped by the memories you choose to strengthen, revisit, and believe. The person you are today is not the story itself. You are the one reading it, interpreting it, and deciding which chapters deserve another reading. Every time you remember only your failures, you quietly rewrite yourself into a smaller person. Every time you remember your courage, you quietly restore another forgotten part of who you are. Perhaps the most important question is no longer, "What happened to me?" Perhaps it has become, "Which version of my story am I practicing every single day?" Because the stories you repeat eventually become the voice that answers whenever life asks you one simple question: who are you?